The liberal dose of the truth. Madison's Progressive Talk. The Mike 92.1 and the Mike921.com.
Once again for podcast trivia here on the Malloy program, where you can win a one-year subscription to Malloy program podcast downloads sent to you. Well, we try to do it every day. We usually succeed. With a retail value of $56.90 or something like that, $59.60, I don't know. It works out to 25 cents a program. It's yours free in your smartphone, your pod person, your iPad, iPod, wherever you want it to go in your email. All you have to do is get the right answer to the question that we ask. It's multiple choice, which means it's just easy as hell, right? Okay, you ready to play? Everybody ready? Who do we have here? Jeffrey is in Chicago. Hello, Jeffrey.
Hey, Mike, I am ready.
Oh, okay, you sound like you're braced and ready. Okay, music, maestro. Here is your question, Jeffrey. This week, it was revealed in a wrongful death civil suit that the Catholic-owned and fabulously wealthy St. Thomas More Hospital in Nevada is arguing that a fetus, in fact, two of them, are not which of the following? A, heads of cabbage. B, precious gifts from God. C, evidence. Or D, actual persons.
Let's see, they're asking which is not?
Yeah, they're saying in their civil, defending themselves in a wrongful death civil suit that two fetuses that were 7 months in utero that died because the mother died because the doctor assigned to the hospital, attached to the hospital, really effed up and did not show up to perform emergency cesarean sections. Her husband, now widower, sued. Wrongful death on 3 people, the wife and the 2 unborn fetuses. The Catholic hospital is now saying that these 2 fetuses are not A, heads of cabbage, B, precious gifts from God, C, evidence, or D, actual persons.
Mike, I'm getting a lot of help here tonight. I'm going to have to guess D.
Which one?
D as in dog.
D, you got it. Okay, all right. All right. Well, that tired us both out, but I'm glad you got it, Jeffrey. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, hold on. Kathy will get all the pertinent information, so don't hang up. All right. Thanks for playing, Jeffrey. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I need to go back to that story again because of all the acts of mayhem and chaos and murder and burnings at the stake and persecution of European women over the centuries because they understood how to heal people who were desperately sick and had not a damn thing to do with praying over their decomposing bodies. Because this Catholic Church has committed so many crimes against humanity, so many just unspeakable, vile acts. And now this Catholic Church, you know, and it's especially appropriate, if that's the right word to use, that this happened during the parades of these poor, miserable sons of bitches in Washington, D.C., who were marching down the streets today, holding up their signs about anti-abortion messages. The fetus is this and the fetus is that. And then Rick Santorum gets up there and speaks his filthy, trashy drivel to these people who then just weep and applaud him and, oh, amen him and God bless him and all this crap. In the meantime, Rick Santorum's church is saying that they're not going to pay a goddamn dime to this widower for the death of his 2 fetuses because they are not persons. Now, oh, my God. I mean, my mind cannot contain that. How long has the church been battering people? How long has Bill O'Reilly, another Catholic, been begging people to go out and commit murders against doctors who perform abortions? How long has this been going on? And now this filthy, stinking organization says, we're not going to pay for this. Why? Because fetuses are not persons. Son of a gun. I mean, I can't. My vocabulary doesn't stretch far enough to handle the kinds of screaming and cursing that this evokes in me. I mean, it's just, I can't do it. Can't do it. The only thing that kept me on the rails today, because I couldn't get this story out of my head, the only thing that kept me on the rails was this piece, op-ed piece I read in the New York Times today about Denis Diderot. You've heard me talk about him, the Enlightenment philosopher, polymath, call him anything you want, but the French government is considering disinterring his remains and offering what is possibly France's highest tribute, and that is a symbolic reburial in the Pantheon that is reserved, what does it say here, in roughly 2 centuries since this massive neoclassical church was converted into a secular mausoleum. In 200 years, fewer than 80 people have been admitted into its gravestone club. And if Diderot is inducted, it'll arguably be the first member to be celebrated as much for his attacks on reigning orthodoxies as for his literary stature. He was a prolific writer. But I've never read anything he's written in terms of fiction, or I think he wrote some plays, didn't he? But this guy, he's the one I always quote, that mankind will never be free until the last king is strangled with the entrails of the last priest. He was a total atheist, a total humanist. He had ideas that dovetailed with, but predated both Darwin and Freud, ideas that ultimately were adopted, in Darwin's case, proven, in Freud's case, theoretically, ideas that came either they adopted these ideas consciously, or just the fact that Diderot was so far ahead of the rest of the human race. Even though he was a product of the Enlightenment, it was just... where was I? I forget. It really doesn't matter. But in reading that today, reading this op-ed piece in the New York Times about how the French government, especially with the new socialist president, Holland, may give him this honor that's been denied him for 300 plus years. Some honor, huh? Being buried someplace other than wherever the hell your remains are now. But I have read enough of Diderot to understand that he was saying, as a matter of fact, I think he served 3 months in prison when in some of his writings he suggested that the church was crazed or something. He was referring to the Catholic Church. I'm not sure about that part. It's in the article today. It's in the op-ed piece at the New York Times. But I would offer that as your assigned reading for the weekend, is just go online and find this. Go to nytimes.com. And I think you can get to it even if you don't have a subscription to the Times. But read this. I mean, and then go to Wikipedia, look up Diderot. There's a whole list of bibliography, all kinds of stuff there that you can read that this man wrote. And you don't have to speak French. But it was this story about the Catholic-owned hospital. They own, I think, medical facilities in 17 states, and they are capitalized to what was the amount? $5 or $6 billion. And because of the way this situation was handled, when this woman showed up, 7 months pregnant, going into her last moments on Earth, they couldn't get a hold of her physician. She was in the hospital. Nobody would do anything. What she needed at that moment was emergency C-section to get these two fetuses out of her. The fetuses would have become viable babies had this been done. There's a good chance at 7 months. And the husband is left with the death of his wife and the possibility of 2 more children. And in filing the wrongful death civil suit against this hospital, the hospital is now arguing that fetuses are not persons. And I know it's the third time I've said this in the past half hour. It drives me crazy. It just drives me crazy. Is there anything that shows the bankruptcy, the moral bankruptcy of this Catholic Church, A, B, and the fact that it defines hypocrisy?
When they say